Well, Blessed, you have just spoken to a former leader of the NDC group in Parliament. He has expressed a lot of interesting sentiments. You have aired some views of sitting members of Parliament on the decision that had been taken. The NDC currently is led by a chairman who has been a member of Parliament before, had served in Parliament, a general secretary as head of administration of the party, who has also served as member of Parliament before. And so, chairman particularly serves also on the Parliamentary Service Board.
That's right.
Another interesting angle which to be brought on board. All these put together shows that these are not novices when it comes to how Parliament works, parliamentary practices and procedures, and how sometimes, general strategy can play a very major role in whether you are successful in parliamentary work or not. Having said that, I am particularly surprised to have heard this in the news as a letter written to the Speaker of Parliament. Of course, Parliament is on recess. We expect them to be back sometime in the early days of the month of February. And without members of the caucus knowing about it, it is all over in the media. Senior members of the caucus are not aware. I honestly would want to pay attention to what Parliament, when it sits in plenary, would want to say about this and the process that they would want to take it through. But I think that this could have been done differently, even if there was the need for the change.
So you feel there may be a unique situation here. I'm asking about the next processes because I wanted to know if indeed the caucus has any power at all to reverse what's been done by leadership of the party. Do they have, some of these powers?
Well, you see, we have run our parliament in such a way that party has a very major influence on what happens in Parliament. And because of that, you can see some of these things happening with party leadership thinking that, well, we can put this out because it is just, and you see the chairman use the word reshuffle, and during reshuffle times, the process is different from when there is no leadership, yali, yali, yali. Forgetting about the fact that this is going to be leadership who will be leading a caucus of 136 members, as we currently have, it, which means that buy-in becomes very, very critical. All I'm saying is that whereas it may not necessarily be flouting any laid down rule of not having this being proposed directly by the caucus, it has grave implications on the party in Parliament if not handled properly.
Yeah, but what then is the big deal? Of course, Haruna himself should have expected that at some point he will be leaving that post. It's not as though he's going to be minority leader forever, is it?
Well, the NDC party knows their plans for, amassing as many seats as possible from the 2024 elections. They know the unique nature of this current parliament and the huge expectation on their shoulders that Ghanaians have placed, because we expect that the minority in parliament will be able to play the oversight. They know the weight of the majority leadership in parliament that they will have to come face up with. And so as a party, they are at liberty to be able to play in whichever strategy that they want to play. However, all of this must be subject to whether it will help them deliver the mandates that they have to play as minority. Let me give you a typical example. Of a party caucus in Parliament has the a chief whip of a party caucus in Parliament has the responsibility of mobilizing
Sammy, are you there?
Yeah, control the.
We lost you. We lost you briefly on the point you're making. If you just take that again for us.
So I was saying that a chief whip in Parliament, has the responsibility of mobilizing his or her ranks. One that can be able to galvanize the team, one that can be able to whip them in line, one that can be able to lead them. In fact, in Parliament, they jokingly refer to their whips as MP class prefects, which shows the weight of responsibility lying on the whip. I heard the party chairman say that, they needed somebody who has gravitas in infrastructure, because infrastructure becomes an issue of huge debate, for the next elections. What has infrastructure debates gotten to do with whipping up your party ranks and files in parliament to be able to do the bidding that you want? And so some of these things, comes to speak to the rationale and the reasoning behind these changes. And like I said, for me, the biggest issue is to hear many members of the caucus say, we did not know about this, we have not been consulted, yet these 5 leaders, of course, 3 new ones, 2 existing ones, are expected to work with these caucus members to deliver on the mandate in parliament. How do you mobilize, lead, galvanize, bring along a group of people who may perhaps not believe in you, who do not have a buy-in in your selection to be able to administer? And remember that the NPP majority in parliament is indeed, especially their front bench, is really a formidable force, in a majority leader who has so much experience, and so all of these things come to play. And for me, I just hope that the party will be able to, I just hope that the party would have exercised some level of maybe restraint or perhaps consultation before these decisions were taken. I really doubt what the rush was, especially considering that the House is not coming back until about 2 weeks from now.
Okay then. Sammy Obeng, Haruna Idrisu or Kesela Tuforsen, what would you choose?
Well, I'm not too sure that...
Yes, Sammy.
Blessed, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear now.
Yeah, I'm not too sure that it's really about who do I choose. Unlike Honorable Yunusaf Hussaini, I'm not a member of the NDC party. Like you rightly indicated, the party understands their players on the field better and knows who to position where. Let me rather state that whereas I agree with Honorable Yunusaf Hussaini when he indicated that nowhere in the standing orders does it preclude, the political party necessarily from being the ones putting forward the details of their leadership in parliament. I completely agree with him on that particular score, and I don't think that from the very beginning I tried to insinuate that the party has no role to play in selecting the leadership in parliament. In fact, he was right when he quoted the definition of a minority leader in the standing orders, which says that the minority leader means the member of parliament designated by the party having the largest numerical strength in parliament, other than the party that has formed the government, and that person is recognized as a minority there. So certainly the party has a role. The point I was making, however, was that for a party that has huge loads, or for a parliamentary group or caucus that has huge load and expectations of the Ghanaian people on its shoulders, it is expected.
Sammy, can you hear me?
So that their front will not be broken in parliament, failing or making them fail to execute their roles and responsibility in parliament. But hey, it's about a political party that understands its members better. It's about a political party that knows its people in parliament better. And it's about how they want to position their people. What this all means also is that there's going to be huge changes to the chairperson, ranking members of committees, in parliament. The party chairman alluded to that when he signaled in your interview with him that it's likely that even finance committee will be led by the Honorable Adongo, if I am not mistaken.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, the leadership that is put in various committees would also be as important, in this entire process. So for us, as a parliamentary monitoring organization, we are hoping and waiting to see who gets to be ranking and deputy ranking on the various committees, how that plays in, but more importantly, to stress and emphasize that when party has a position on a particular subject matter, consensus building, in my opinion, is extremely important to be able to keep the units together in a very important critical parliament such as this 8th parliament.
All right then, Sammy Obeng.